So this is my friend Jerry.
Okay, I'm gonna go live. Okay, guys, can you mute your mics? And I'm gonna actually put the let's start the show. Actually, you don't have to. I'll just put a nice song on here, quiet, and we can start it like this. Welcome to the Monster Castle Paranormal Show. Tonight we're just taking it easy on a Friday night, and I've got my friends with me. I've got Jeff D from hashtag DM Talk, one of the old DM talkers and an experiencer like myself. I've got Darren Hagewald he is the most often caller from the other side of midnight with Richard C. Hoagland, and he is our partner as well. The three of us are a wolf pack. We're missing one member, and I'm not sure where Marcus is, but we also have a guest caller. What is your name, sir?
Jerry?
Jerry?
Is he still there?
Yes, this is Jerry.
Oh, how are you, sir?
Fantastic. How are you doing?
Great. Yeah, it's a pleasure to have you on. This is getting so close to Halloween. That's why I have my Halloween song playing right now. But we're wondering, do you have a spooky story, or what do you got for us tonight, sir? Jerry?
What I have is, I love the Halloween time of the season. It's one of my favorite holidays, Halloween, and doing the dress up. For many years, I went as the Beast for Beauty and the Beast, taking my three girls out trick-or-treating. That was awesome.
You're not on a speakerphone, are you?
Do you have it up to your ear?
No. I have the audio speaker on.
It's distorting a little bit. I'm not sure. Maybe if you could pull your voice away from whatever speaker, or if you're on a speakerphone, just use your regular phone and talk into it.
Is this better?
Oh,
yeah,
way better.
That's much better.
Fantastic. Yeah, as I was saying, Halloween's one of my favorite holidays of the year. For several years, I went as the Beast and Beauty and the Beast costume with my three girls trick-or-treating to trunk and treat events with them.
And I went
trunk
too.
And treat.
Trunk and treats, yeah. They set up a bunch of cars in a big parking lot, and they do trick-or-treating out of their trunk. And the kids and the parents wander around in the parking lot from car to car.
Do they have a trough and brew?
Do
you know what a trough and brew?
I'm not sure. I've never seen one.
Trough and brew?
But hey,
it's
the Portland area, so
no, trough and brew.
Surprise me.
Oh, trough and brew is when you got like a big trough full of beer. And you gotta drink it out of the trough like a horse.
Have not seen that. No.
That won't pass code, I don't think.
Oh man, I guess they only do that like up here in Canada, like in the trees and shit, right?
I guess so.
Oh, you guys never had Jeff? Have you ever had a trough and brew party?
It's the first time I've heard of that.
Oh man, a lot of fun, man. It's all fun until the one guy sticks his underwear in there and nobody wants to drink in it anymore.
Oh, who would do that? That's terrible.
Yeah, I know. Into the beer, I know.
That's nasty.
Oh, God. It didn't stop you, though, Wolfman, did it?
Well, I know that if you pour more tequila in there, it'll disinfect. So,
That's always been my theory too.
Okay. Anyway, enough of this silliness. I would like to go back to our guest caller here and continue with your story, please, sir.
What, Jerry?
Well, I really don't have too many ghost stories at all, so nothing that I can share on the ghost story side of things.
What about?
He's got one, but he's never told me about it.
I was told you have a UFO sighting though.
I have a UFO sighting?
Do you not?
No. No, I do not.
Okay. But you are in touch with the Greys. You just have not been regressed to everyone actually on the planet, I believe, has had contact with these things. And we just don't remember it.
Do I believe there are ghosts? Yes. Do I believe that there are strange events? Yes.
Well, you must.
Jerry,
you must know
Jerry,
something. Maybe your grandmother told you a story. Come on, Jerry. You gotta have something crazy for me here. Where are you from?
Oh. Salem, Kaiser, Oregon.
Is that not where the witch trials were?
No.
Oh, that's a different Salem.
Salem, Oregon. That's south of Portland, Oregon.
Oh, where's Marcus when you need him? Because he knows all about the Salem.
I think we were named after the same Salem. Jerry, can you?
I wouldn't be too surprised about that.
Jeff, do you have any questions?
I don't have any. I don't know of any haunted houses or mansions here in Salem. Unlike on the East Coast, there's famous houses or mansions that have a history of themselves. I don't know any of them in Salem, though.
So
Salem, Oregon.
In your Salem, Oregon, is there witches?
I haven't found any.
Well, I mean, like, is there a history of witches being there? Or is it, where's the other one? Salem, Massachusetts? I can't remember where the other Salem is. Does anybody know? I know Marcus knows. He was there. He's got a whole book on this.
Yeah. No, I haven't heard of any warlock, witches, that type of thing in Salem, Oregon. I think it is Salem, Massachusetts. So.
Okay, Jeff, I'm afraid to say this is your show. You're supposed to be leading.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I'm going to shut up now, and I'm going to let you lead because I promised that this is your show.
Well, it's about time.
Yeah.
I mean, every time I'm listening, there's the Wolfman talking about, being chased by UFOs and, getting bonked in the head. There's, I'm here in Phoenix, Arizona, and we have actually several houses that are haunted here. There's actually a couple, it's so big that there's a couple, researchers here that look into this, and they, they go there and they do like their EVPs, and that's kind of interesting. Although I haven't had a chance to really visit any of these yet. I did get a visit like a haunted cemetery that was like back from like the 1800s, back when I was in North Carolina, and it was on an old air station, and they had these like half chiseled tombstones, and And it's like you'd go out there and be quiet and silent, but you would see like things like by the tree like moving, which shouldn't be moving in the middle of the day. And it was like me and a couple of people that saw this. It wasn't like just something in your own mind. It's like we all saw the same exact thing, in the middle of the day, or like 5 or 6 p.m.
Okay.
I don't know if anybody's ever seen. Have you seen stuff like that? Or?
Yes. I had in the middle of the day sighting by an old cemetery. Yes, but I want to hear more
middle
about
of the day.
I'll tell you about mine, but first, can you continue with yours? What did you see moving that was not supposed to be moving?
Well, it was kind of like it was like something like came like out of the tree in a way, like the main trunk of it, about eye level, maybe a little bit lower, and you could actually see, it looked like an arm would like come out, and there's no one out there. I mean, it's middle of nowhere. You would hear if someone was walking because there's leaves around and there's really not a whole lot out there, and it's kind of distant. I mean, the grass is growing up around everything, and it's growing over like the tombstones, and I had some of the older tombstones that were like erect, and up, and rather than the ones that are, flush with the ground. Some of them were actually broken. I mean, it looked like something that was out of a movie, but it was surreal because there it was in front of us, and we were like, we had no idea. There's like no markings. There's just like a piece of cable or wire cable that kind of surrounded this area off by like 4 or 5 trees, and that was it. And it's kind of spooky. I mean,
okay, I've got a question. Is this is it still there today, or have they paved it over and turned it into a parking lot, or what?
I'm pretty sure it's still there.
And
this was.
Is it hard to get rid of a cemetery?
No,
I think they have like
pardon me?
50 years. Like after 50 years, they can relocate the bodies, but
Who gets to do
something
that?
like that.
well, the movie Poltergeist was actually based on a true story. The whole neighborhood was built on a huge cemetery that was like, it depends on whose cemetery it is. Now, if we're talking Native Indians, there's no problem just building a fucking neighborhood right on there. Excuse my French.
or an oil line just right across the middle.
Yeah,
of their
just totally disrespect those poor people, and let's use a bulldozer and crush all the bones up and everything, and develop on this. Wow, you know what I mean? Total disrespect for the country that you are coming into. Like, it's no wonder that certain ethnic groups get upset with acts like this. And like, just like Darren, all of the like paved paradise, put up a parking lot. I say paved ancient sites and put up a golf course. Like,
It's amazing how many times they've like tore down a building and then found something amazing underneath.
no, what I'm talking about is actually covering it up on
I know.
purpose. Like these ancient sites across North America, which are actually really old ancient sites across North America, being
Like the
covered
Miami
up.
Circle.
Like being covered up on purpose. And I don't why are they doing that? Why are they covering up
Well,
the North American ancient sites? Why?
they didn't care back in the day. Turn of the century. It was all about progress, and that's why I was saying it's cool when they actually tear down a building. It seems like they always find something.
But can
Sure,
you
if-
imagine if England was like that, and they just plowed over Stonehenge and then built a parking lot there? Because this is what they're
Well,
doing
sure.
here in North America.
I'm sure they did it in London back in the day. I bet there's a bunch of stuff. That's an old city. Jerry, have you ever found anything when you're working with building officials and with making new buildings where they found something like that?
No, I haven't.
No old cemeteries or anything?
No.
Huh.
Most of it's been farmland, so.
I always feel really weird when I go into a cemetery. I don't know about you guys. And not bad, good, in a peaceful way, but kind of melancholy too. It's just weird.
I think we got to get back to Jeff's story here. Can you continue with that cemetery story, please, Jeff?
Well, I think what I was talking about was the we'd see the trees there. I mean, because it was in North Carolina and there's woods, everywhere, and like we were just out there exploring the forest, and here we stumbled upon this what we're like, oh my God, that's a cemetery. There was probably like maybe eight headstones there, maybe seven or eight.
Like a family plot.
Yeah, like there was like a couple people there with the same last name, and
do you remember the names? And also, was there any smoke or mist coming off the ground around the area?
No, I didn't see that, but we did see the. I mean, it was like we're out there and we're just like, oh, that's kind of weird, and then we're like, so we're just kind of, we're not like walking on the graves because that's just seemed kind of strange. We didn't want to do that. But we were walking around.
Was there any vandalized graves there at the site that you noticed vandalized stuff?
Vandalized?
Yeah.
No, not at all. I mean, is that what you said?
Yeah, I was wondering if you noticed any vandalized graves at the site.
No, this was like an undisturbed location. Like no one had been there.
A hidden cemetery.
Yeah, it was totally hidden. Like no one, you could tell like the grass was still like no one had stepped on any of the grass. It was still growing, there was no trails of anybody walking. This was, we drove down a paved road to a dirt road to another dirt road, and we just kept on driving down these roads, and we're like, hey, let's just stop and see what's going on. We got tired of driving.
Double blind ghost test. Double blind ghost box test. Oh yeah.
And it was like middle of the day, and we were just like, just curious because we were bored. We were just trying to explore the woods, see what's going on out there. We weren't looking for a cemetery, that's for sure. And
wonder how many of those there are. Hidden secret cemeteries, family.
Yeah, and I tried to like ask somebody about it, and they were like, "Oh, we have no idea about this. We don't know what you're talking about." I'm like, there's a cemetery, like over here that's just,
middle
like
of the woods.
Yeah, like the steel cable had grown into the trees and was like all rusted, and like kind of fenced off the area. And
you gotta go back
no
there.
one had been there. No one had been there for probably years. I mean,
I want to see pictures.
These weren't like traveled roads, and anyway, I say we were all just like kind of like curious, like what's this, cemetery doing, middle of nowhere, no one around, and then someone's like, hey, do you see that? And we're like, no, and then we all looked over like to another area. We all saw like this like arm kind of just kind of come out. Wasn't like really fast, wasn't really slow, but it just like it looked like it was like coming out of the tree. Like it wasn't like someone was behind it or in front of it. It looked like it was coming out of the tree, and it just kind of raised up and then it just fell back down. I mean, it was kind of like a shadow, like a.
Did it look hairy or big?
No, it was just like an outline. You could just see like it was just like kind of like a dark, like you could see through it, but it was black.
Whoa.
I don't know if that makes any sense.
Yeah. Translucent but
And it
dark.
was.
Did
and
your
like I said,
did your
it was
hair?
like in the middle of the day.
Sorry, Jeff.
What?
Yeah, did your hair
Yeah.
stand on end, and did you feel very uneasy before or after that? When you saw that?
Not before, but after. We all kind of just like looked at. We all just kind of like I think looked at it for a second, and then we looked at each other, and we were just like, we didn't know what to do. You know, what do you do in that situation when everybody sees the same thing? How do you explain that away?
Yeah, it's not like okay, we're all on mushrooms and we're all hallucinating the same freaking thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just make clear we were completely sober, you know.
How did it affect
Ireland's-
each person?
Also, how old were you at the time?
Probably like 20, 21.
How did everyone react? Did everyone react the same or different?
The two of us, or me and another guy, just kind of froze, and we're just like, we didn't know what to do. And the other guy was like, you know, he kind of just yelled. He was just like, you know, he didn't know what. It just freaked him out, and we're just like kind of in shock. We're like, what was that? You know. And then we're like, at that point, we're like, yeah, let's get out of here. We just left. We're like, we're not going to hang around for this. So that the first guy that saw it, when he yelled, well, he's the same guy that he had seen the first one. So like by the time he saw like the second like thing, kind of spooked him. He was like already in the car before we even like started walking back to it. So.
I do
You got any
believe
questions?
I do believe God may have joined us, so we may be able to ask God what happened. God, are you there?
Wow.
God, are you there? God.
I hear
I
a
don't
hum.
hear God.
I think God is there.
Where's God?
I think he'll probably come on in a second with us. I heard some noise. Okay, anyway, if God, if you're there, please make a sign. Oh no, don't put that thing, oh. Not that kind of sign. That's silly, but you're supposed to be polite. This is the Monster Castle Paranormal. We don't tolerate that sort of behavior here. Do we, boys? Not
No.
anymore. Not
No.
anymore. No, we're
gonna
cleaning up our act, right?
I will banish you.
That's right. Jeff's in control here.
You
Actually-
are banished.
It is
Or I'm
Mark.
gonna bonk
I was joking. It's Marcus. Marcus has joined us. Are you there, Marcus?
Is he here?
Hello, I'm here.
Yay.
Can you hear me?
All right. Yeah, we
All
hear you
right.
just fine.
Do you have any good cemetery story?
Not really, no.
I don't think
Uh,
Jeff's done with his anyways. I want to get back to that one.
Well, that was about it. I mean, after we we saw what we saw, we just decided it was, we should probably not hang around that old cemetery. I mean, I think we figured out it was over 150, years old.
So, can you go back there and would you be able to take pictures and try to get some EVPs?
I would have to get permission from the military base that it's on.
Oh shit.
Ooh.
Because I was on the base at the time.
Now that is even creepier. That they got
That's
a
what I'm telling you.
cemetery.
I asked so I was friends with the base chaplain of the entire, the bases on the East Coast there. Well, he was there, and we always had good conversations. He always liked to hear about like the beings that I saw, and so we would talk at length about this. Anyway, I asked him about this cemetery, and he knew nothing about it. And this was I think he was he's Episcopalian priest, but he provided services for all the different religions there, and we'd talk about. He'd love to hear like the stories of all the beings that I saw, which you guys have heard of some of them that I've seen, and it's like he's heard so many people that have seen all this stuff that and he said all of it, they all kind of have the same story. And this is like a priest. He totally believes in this stuff. Like he himself, he said he's never seen anything, but he's like every story he hears that's independent of each other, they're all kind of similar. The similar what they see, where they see them, and like kind of how these entities behave. It's like I want to know why why when we were at the cemetery they decided to show themselves. It's like what were they doing? Were they just waving to say hi? or scare us? I don't know. It was in the middle of the day, so like we weren't terribly scared, because it was like still light out. We could see, for miles because it was wooded, but we could see as far as you could through the forest there.
What base was it?
It was the Marine Corps Air Station Cherry Point.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I've tried to like Google map it, but it's impossible. One, because of the tree cover, and two, I don't know if they show all the stuff on that base. So if you go and you like do the Google Maps of the air station, you'll see it's like surrounded by a forest. And it's just out in the middle, nowhere. It's just, and it wasn't even near like a road. We just kind of like wandered, like off the old dirt road that like hadn't been driven on. We were like rolling over, freshly, grown grass, and just, I don't know what made us decide to stop right there either. We all just said, hey, let's stop here. Okay. And we all jumped out and we were just kind of wandering around, and we're like, oh, well, that's kind of weird. Cause we could see the, from a distance, we could see one of the tombstones that was like vertical, cause it was a bit high, but they were like, falling apart. And I mean, it's something you would see out of like a scary movie. And like, we were really kind of freaked out because we were like, what is this doing out here? And, and then when and we heard the other guy yell, and then we look over, and then like we see an arm, and he just freaks out and takes off. And
one time when we were in college, it was about 1 a.m, and we were staying over off of the Little Deschutes River, and on the wall was this huge map, like a real detailed map. What do you call those maps? It's every mountain and every little thing on it. It's kind of green.
The topographical map?
Topographical map. And in the middle of this foresty area, there's just a little teeny marker, and it said, grave. And so
wow.
We got it in our heads that we needed to go find that grave in the middle of the night. So we took the map, and we went down the road. We started crawling through the forest, and sure enough, we came to it. It was kind of like a historical figure, but it was just looking on that map and just seeing the grave.
Wow.
So we went down there in the dark. We found it. It's a big white grave. Somebody that was the original landowner or something. It was fun though.
Right.
It's fun to do it 2 a.m.
Well, you guys remember the story I told about the when I worked in the cadaver lab?
Yes.
We had the one cadaver that that moved its arm and like, I mean, this body had been dead for like probably 3 or 4 days, and there was 3 of us in the room. I was a supervisor and I had like 2 guys working for me, and 2 of us saw it. Oh yeah, oh that's weird. But you guys remember like the body, like it lifted its arm up and then just like dropped it, and like so one of the other guys heard it. We all heard it. One guy heard it, and the other 2 of us saw it.
Ugh.
And we're just, I mean, I said it's time to take a break, and we all left the room. We're out of here.
Who got the detail of having to pick up the arm and put it back?
Well, it didn't fall off. It just it raised up and then like fell down. But
it fell back down.
Yeah, it fell back down, like onto the table. So like, it was when we lay the body there, we lay him there, and the bodies are like, then the arms are next to the body, so they're to the side.
So it didn't fall off the table. It lifted up.
No.
And fell back down.
Yeah.
Oh, that's even spookier.
Yeah. No. It didn't fall off the table because it's kind of hard because the way the tables are designed. But yeah, I was like, yeah, we're taking a break. Let's. We went to the break room, and we didn't talk about it. They didn't want to talk about it. I said, all right.
I bet that's way creepier than being in the cemetery, being in a cadaver lab.
Yeah, it is because the bodies are there, and
There used to be people. How many bodies were in there?
Well, at a time, I had like 4 tables, but I could store like 30 in the refrigerator.
I'm sorry, this is the Wolfman. We're putting a song on right now, and we're going to be right back. Eric, are you there? Eric? Okay, here is some really strange noises. Yeah, baby. This is, I call this little number cellular disruption. I hope you enjoy this. We'll be back in just a second.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, we were off?
Oh yeah. Hey, we're back. Okay, Jeff.
We're back.
Yeah, you
Back.
got cut off a little bit, and I'd like you to just back up and then continue where you were with that story. This is crazy. I love it.
Where were
Go back to the
You were,
weirdest thing you found on a cadaver.
Oh, okay. So I talked about the lady who had the breast cancer that she had the breast removed. You could tell by the scars, and then basically that was the cause of her death. It was the breast cancer, but it kind of spread to her lungs. But anyway, the cancer, the way it grows, it gets like hard and it. I mean, it's really like a solid piece. Anyway, it grew to the point where it like covered her entire chest and like abdomen, and I mean, it's kind of bumpy and rough. And anyway, it was like a chest plate, or like some sort of like body armor that you would wear. And I mean, that's one of the weirdest things I've seen. I saw
So weird.
another one. Yeah,
That sounds
so,
kind of
I don't know.
reptilian, man. That sounds kind of reptilian.
Yeah, it was. It wasn't like regular skin. It was.
Eric,
it was
what do
like
you think of
hard
this?
and
Eric, what do you think of this? Are you there, brother? Eric. Okay.
I'm here. I took
Eric.
off the mute. I'm sorry.
Okay. What do you think of Jeff's story with the reptilian skinned cadaver?
I just tuned in. I was watching. I'm sorry to say, I was watching the Lakers, and then I saw your tweet. I missed the story, but I could tell you what I mean, reptilians are real. I believe that 100%, and I believe there's more than one type of reptilian. I don't think there's just. I mean, everybody has this image of a specific type of reptilian, but going back to ancient Egypt, for example, Credo Mutwa. If you want to research Credo Mutwa, he's a shaman, and I mean, the bottom line is reptilians are real. So if this man has an experience with the reptilians, then I'm not going to doubt him.
Well, this sounds like an interesting topic we should switch to.
Well, you know how I feel about that. I feel like reptilians, especially like people like Hillary Clinton, if you bonk them and then cook them on a fire, they taste just like chicken. But yeah.
Hey, did you hear that joke about the two frogs? You guys have heard this, right?
I have not heard it.
Yeah. Okay. So these, one frog, they one frog said to the other, after they had just, were in bed and doing their thing, and the other one's like, you know what? It is true. We do taste like chicken.
Well, hey, frogs
right,
are
not that.
frogs are reptilians. They're reptilian offspring. I mean, if you think about this, we have human beings that have cats as pets, and there's many people that believe there is such a race as the cat people. But I mean, if you think about reptilians and frogs, I mean, frogs were reptilian pets at one time. There's reptilians. There's a different whole nother reptilian race that lives in the sea, deep underground in the sea. And this goes back to ancient Egypt documents that are not known to us here in America or in many countries through via Credo Mutwa. And if you believe in what David Icke is saying, I'm not saying I do personally believe in everything he says, but he's interviewed Credo Mutwa, and this guy you got to listen to his story. I just think that the frog people, they're real.
Yeah, I've heard of this too, and they've been sighted here and there, even in Alaska. A hand coming up out of the water and grabbing, like a humanoid sort of hand, of some sort of humanoid creature that's in the lake or the bay.
Yeah, the creature of the Black Lagoon was I mean, that was real. I mean, that was like a movie in the 50s, but that was based on reality that was transformed through, film.
Yeah, and where is the Black Lagoon? Is that in Florida somewhere?
There is many Black Lagoons in Florida.
Because
there's not just one. Just like there's not just one planet. There's not just one lagoon.
By the way, Eric, I would like to say you did an awesome job on Strange Days Radio with your what do you call it? Your news thing that you do. It's really awesome, and everybody.
Quantum hologram matrix.
Now there's the quantum hologram matrix, and then there's Beyond the Strange, right? And that's Dave Cruz and Reverend John Polk, and you help those guys out, and we love their shows, and they're really, really cool. So anybody who hasn't heard that, you can find that hashtag B, like the letter B, and then Strange, or hashtag HQ Matrix. And from there on Twitter, you can probably find anything out you want about those shows, right?
It's QH Matrix, Quantum Hologram Matrix.
Okay,
but yes.
There we go. Hashtag QH.
And I want to, well, since you mentioned it, I've got something I want to share with you.
They're also on Spreaker like me, by the way. They are on Spreaker like me. So they're friends of mine from Spreaker. So
they just had actually tonight, earlier, before your show, John Teeter 2 on Beyond the Strange.
Yeah, I heard about that. How did that go?
I missed it. I just got home from work, and so I missed it. But
we got to keep talking
Wednesday,
about.
Have you heard of Tony Topping?
It sounds like a guy that makes pizza.
You should get a pizza franchise going. An alien pizza franchise. I'll tell you, that's a moneymaker right there. We
Tony Topping. Oh yeah, we got like mushrooms from freaking Mars, man. Oh yeah, you don't want to try these mushrooms. You'll be hitting Pluto in no time.
I remember one time, I got to tell the story briefly. I think I was 17 or 18. I was in high school. It was my senior year. And we were doing this was in Santa Cruz, California, which is where the movie, what was it? Lost Boys was filmed right at the boardwalk. I don't know if you guys remember that movie, Lost Boys. That was a classic. You guys remember that movie, Lost Boys?
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Okay, that was filmed right in my hometown at the boardwalk. And there was another movie that was filmed right down the street, literally down the street from where I went to high school, Pretty Baby with Brooke Shields, right there in Santa Cruz near the lighthouse. Where, by the way, anybody that's into surfing, the lighthouse pier right there in the Pacific Ocean in Santa Cruz, California, has some massive waves.
Did you like get your foot in the door on those films, Eric? Did you get your little face in there?
I did, actually.
Nice. I thought you did.
I was an extra. I was a guy in the sand just rubbing oil on the girl on the beach.
I'm not sure if I believe that.
Well, I made that up, but the bottom line is,
I was thinking more it was like probably a guy or something, and they made you do it.
No, that would never happen. I promise you, not in this lifetime.
I'm kidding.
No other timelines or lifelines that I'm aware of. So check this out. I got to share this with you briefly. And this is a guy that, if I can, he's in the UK. He is Tony Topping in London. He's an experiencer. He tells a story from the age of 2, but he's going to be coming on the show Quantum Hologram Matrix. But if it goes well, I'll get him on your show too, Wolfman. Because he's like several hours. I mean, I think at 5 o'clock Pacific, 8 o'clock your time, it's 4 a.m. or 3 a.m. in the morning where he is.
Well, I've talked to people from England before, and I find it really interesting. the stuff they have going on there is completely different than the paranormal stuff we have going on here. Like, for instance, they don't see Bigfoots out in the woods. They see big black cats or big dog creatures. Like, a matter of fact, the last reported dog creature was spotted on the Thames River, on the side of the Thames River, and was eating the carcass of another dog. And when it was spotted, it jumped over like a 15-foot wall with the dog carcass in its mouth. But it was a creature standing about 7 to 8 feet tall, with the head of a canine and a massive, bulky, huge body, like muscular body. But yeah, it was eating a dog.
Doesn't surprise me one bit.
Okay, hey Jeff.
Yeah.
Back to your story. Remember, you asked me if I had ever had a daytime sighting?
Right. The same thing. Yeah, in the cemetery, right?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to tell you about my daytime sighting. This is messed, okay? I think I've mentioned this one before, but a lot of people probably never heard this. I was hoeing tobacco with my whole crew. There was 11 of us out in the field, and we had just planted the tobacco, and you cultivate it and that, but then there's always a few straggler weeds left behind, so we go up and down the rows quickly, and each row is about a quarter mile long. So when you walk up the row, it takes about 15 minutes, maybe. A quarter mile when you're walking, hoeing weeds. What would you say? I would say 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes if you're good. Anyway, the little cemetery, the one I talked about, happened to be right there where we're coming towards, in this field where my tobacco is in this field. It's going around this little cemetery. And it's an old 1800s cemetery, just like the one you talked about. And we saw these people, and they looked like, we thought, Mennonites coming down the road. And it's all flat ground, like you can see for miles around you here. There's one woods on the corner, but they came from the other direction, so it's all flat ground and you can see for miles. So they're walking down the gravel road and they walked all the way down the road. There's probably about I would say at least 10 of them. And when they got closer, I realized that's not Mennonite clothing, that's 1800s clothing. Because it's way too colorful, and the Mennonites seem to use the same patterns and colors, and like blues and black and suspenders and stuff in their knickers, and like this was all different. Everybody had a very different style, but sort of, in the same, like, wow. So we realized that's not, what is this? Is this some kind of a commemorative parade that's going to, and they went right to that little cemetery and putting flowers on the graves, and they were waving to us and we were probably like 3/4 of the way up, and they were at the end of the field when they got there. So we're about probably 200, I don't know, what's a quarter mile, a little less than a quarter mile away from them. Anyways, normally out in this area is so flat ground, you can hear anyone talking, even like at the next farm away, even a mile away, you can hear someone talking easily. Even the next farmer over in his field, when he's yelling at his crew or at his dog, you can hear that too, few miles away. So These people were talking to each other. You could see their mouths moving. We didn't hear a thing. And that's when we all kind of leaned on our hose and looked at them and like, what the hell is this? That is weird. They're talking, but you can't hear them. They're waving to us. I said, I don't think that those people are real, guys. I think that's ghosts. I've seen ghosts around that cemetery before, and I think those are ghosts. That is really weird. And everyone just kind of laughed and said, whatever. And let's just get to the end of the road, turn around, we'll go back down, and we'll talk to him and see who it is. So, we only went to the end of the row, might have been 5 minutes, turn around, and they were gone, completely disappeared. Now, they couldn't have walked up the road in any direction. Within 5 minutes, we would see where there was no vehicle. No vehicle came down the road. They just completely disappeared. And when we got back down to the end where the cemetery is, 10 minutes later, we looked there, and there was no flowers on the graves.
Weird. Did you walk up to the cemetery?
Oh, yeah. We went right into the cemetery. Like, I hopped the fence and went right in there and looked for footprints or any sign of... And they don't cut the grass in there very often. And, I did a little bit of tracking. I've hunted. I'm not too bad at tracking. Like, I looked around and I could not find any bent or broken down grass or any sign of anybody that was in there at all. It was completely untouched.
Whoa. What did the other guys think?
There was 11 witnesses with me. We were all just our jaws dropped to the floor. Basically, what the fuck, in the middle of the daytime, we just saw that.
Wow.
Now, there's been other times on this road where, when I worked in a nursery, that's a rose. They make roses and stuff. They package roses, and my wife and I worked there for a little while. My first wife, and I wish she got really cut by the thorns, but never mind about that. Anyways, some people that we talked to there had seen a horse-drawn hearse come down the same road by that cemetery when they were on their way to work a couple times and then disappear into a hazy mist. Well, they were they saw it coming up towards them, and it was a horse-drawn hearse.
Was it silent?
Totally silent, yeah. And then when they come close near it, it would just dissipate into mist. And there was a few people at the factory there that had saw that there was more than one witness, and yeah, and plus I had 11 witnesses with me on the day. That mass sighting in the middle of the day like that's just nuts, man. Especially.
Are you still friends with any of those people?
Oh yeah, they were all Mexican Mennonite people that I hired from around the area. When I play sometimes I play that Mexican Mennonite music on my show.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah, the polka music. Yeah, that's John Falk. Yeah, it's his. Some of his family was out there, I think, too. And yeah, I got some of them on Facebook. Yeah, I could actually probably get somebody from that group on if you want to talk to somebody else. Yeah,
that'd be cool. Wonder if that'd be neat to hear their side of it too.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it too, because, I don't want to hear just my side of the story. As a matter of fact, I'd probably want to have someone from that group, and I just shut the hell right up, and then maybe one of you guys, maybe Jeff or Darren could interview the person and see how our stories match.
Yeah, that's a great idea. That'd be cool.
Yeah, we could do the same type of interview style you did with Sandra, and we could ask them a question about it, and then where you can't hear the questions,
yeah,
we
like,
could ask you the same. And
it's like
that'd be a good
the double blind
comparison there.
Yeah, the double blind interview, I call it.
Double blind monster box, or what is that?
Well, the double blind ghost box test is really cool. Now I want to get one of these, and yeah, and what they're doing now is they're using the ghost box and then having one person, so that's all they hear, and they cannot hear the other people in the room. So all they can hear is this ghost box blasting in their earphones, right? And any words they hear, they just say it out loud. So the other people in the room are asking questions.
Oh, I get it.
At the same time.
We gotta get a ghost box.
So then, and this was supposed to debunk the ghost box phenomenon entirely. And instead of debunking it, this team of skeptics has turned into total believers because of the uncanny number of answers that were right on subject and totally pertaining. Well, this person doesn't even have a clue what's being asked.
It's like a vocal Ouija board.
It's even more messy. Yeah. But
so people are starting to do this all the time?
I know if you Google double blind ghost box, there is one team that has already done significant research into it, and they were trying to debunk the ghost box and throw it down the drain and say, we've had it with this stupid thing, let's debunk this once and for all. And it turned into a whole different project. And I can't remember the guys' names, but yeah, they're all over YouTube. You can hear it for free. They've got tons of EVPs on there. I actually asked their permission if I can use some of that. I haven't got a response yet. I'd like to play some of those on the air on Halloween. And there's another group. Anyone else has EVPs? Please send them to me, or your ghost stories for Halloween.
That would be so fun. How much is a ghost box?
I have no idea, and I don't know where to get one. Jeff, do you know?
I have no idea. I think it's 2 for Tuesdays, but I don't know about any other day. I don't know.
Eric?
What, you can buy 2 ghost boxes?
On Tuesdays.
Really?
I don't know. I have no idea.
I've never heard of Ghost Box. What the hell's Ghost Box?
Man. It plays static. Okay, go ahead.
It goes through the radio station dial. So it's just a random thing where it just change, the stations. And then every once in a while you'll hear a word, then it'll pop up. And sometimes it'll form sentences, even though it's going through the stations. Isn't that correct, Wolfman?
Kind of. It does work on the principle of scanning radio stations and looking for peaks. I believe that's how it works. So it will... I'm not sure how it works exactly, but apparently all I can say is the damn freaking thing seems to work very well. And the skeptics are having a hard time debunking this one because it's so damn accurate. With details of people living in places in the past and stuff that were in the room, that died in the room, like all kinds of, oh my God. It's just, really
Wow.
hard to actually dismiss this one.
Okay,
from a
check it out.
skeptical
I'm on
point of view.
I'm on the internet right now, and I googled Ghostbox, and basically there's a lot of stuff on YouTube. Speaking to the Dead, the new GB-1 Ghostbox app.
Okay, do double blind ghost box. Double
And then
blind
also
ghost.
there's the EcoBox Ghostbox app test, and this guy says it's real. It actually works.
Well, it might work.
Just go
I
on
haven't tried that.
YouTube. Go YouTube and type in Ghostbox app, and you'll find out what the Wolfman's talking about right now for the listeners.
So you can get an app for your phone that does it too?
I have not tried that, but that sounds cool, and it's worth a try.
Yeah, you could. If you got an iPhone, you could definitely do it. I don't know, probably any other kind of like high tech, type phone you could probably do it on as well.
Wow.
That is so cool. Okay, guys.
I'll tweet it out on hashtag 47Wolf so you guys can see what I'm talking about.
All right, thanks, Eric. You're awesome, man. Okay, we're gonna go to a song, and everyone can have a break. I think I'm gonna go with the Blueheads. What do you think?
Yeah, go for it.
Bad to Worse.
Yeah,
All right.
absolutely.
Okay, here we go. Blueheads, Bad to Worse. All right, I'm the Wolfman. Dig it, all right, baby, yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had the turntable at the wrong speed. Want to try it again? Want to try it again? With the wrong speed. Want to try it again? Want to try it again? Want to try it again?
Some people say I am grown. Some people say that I have changed. Some people say I am blessed, but I am cursed because I go from bad to worse. Some people say I am okay. Some people call me a freak. Some people say I should go to church, but I just go from bad to worse.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had the turntable at the wrong speed. Want to try it again? The turntable at the wrong speed. Want to try it again?
Sometimes I feel like I am a secondary citizen. Oh yeah. Sometimes I feel like I am a secondary citizen. Oh. I'm losing my faith in myself. I still got some faith in you. For you, I'm losing my faith in myself. I still got some faith in you, yeah, you. And I hope you try and love me too, 'cause sometimes I feel like I am a secondary citizen. Oh yeah. Sometimes I feel like I am a secondary citizen. Oh. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro.
Good. That was much better. Do you have
Oh, I'm sorry. I had the turntable at the wrong speed. Want to try it again? The wrong speed. Want to try it again? Try it again?
Some people say that I am strong. Some people say that I am weak. Some people say I can't sing one more verse because I go from bad to worse.
Oh, I'm sorry. I had the turntable at the wrong speed. Want to try it again?
Oh, I'm sorry, I had the turntable at the wrong
Yeah, this is the Wolfman, and I'm trying to ring back somebody that was just calling in, and we're hearing it. But I'm going to put another song on here while we're trying to hook this up. Well, let's hear. Oh, I've got a caller here. Hello, you're on the air on the Monster Castle Paranormal. Who am I talking to?
Hey man, what's up? This is Walt.
Walt.
Flat Earth Head.
How are you, sir?
Hey man, you all right?
Yeah, you're on with the Wolfman here.
Oh, okay. So you got it rolling finally, huh? Glad to hear it.
Yeah. Where do I know you from? Do I know you from #DM Talk?
Yeah, well, you and I have talked a lot on DM on Twitter. It's been a while though, because I kind of got off doing my own podcast actually.
Okay. What do you call yourself on Twitter?
I'm Flat Earth Head.
Oh my God! It's so good to hear you, brother.
Good to hear
you. I wrote a song about. You inspired me to write this song, right?
I remember you told me you were working on it. Yes, I think you even sent me a rough draft in an email, but I don't know if you ever finished it up or not.
Just got a new band together right now, and we're working on trying to record that actually.
Well, that's awesome.
So yeah, that's what I was thinking. I want to have you on a future show and do the whole thing about the flat Earth, and then we release that song on the same date.
Hey, that sounds great. I'm always ready to talk about that. What's your topic for the show tonight, though? I don't want to get off topic.
Tonight we're all over the place. Mostly ghost stories, though. So if you got a ghost story, I'm gonna get the other guys on with us right now, because
sure.
For some reason when someone phones in, I gotta add. It doesn't give me the option to add you to the group, so I don't understand this. I think I'm going to have to use two.
Well, I'm so totally new to Skype, I didn't even know I was actually calling you. I thought I was just adding you as a contact, and then I sent you the message there on Twitter to see how the show was working. I didn't know if it was, if it was something you recorded or if you streamed it live. We kind of do that too, though. We'll do a live show sometime and stream it live, and then sometimes we'll do a show and then edit it later. It just depends on the situation. So.
Yeah. Okay, let me see. Okay, hang on. Go on for a second. Can you tell everybody a little about yourself? What's your first name again? Hello?
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do right now, is trying to figure out these controls. I apologize. Like I said, I've used Skype perhaps twice, maybe on a call in with Jaron and.
Okay.
Uh-oh, I thought I lost you there. Looked like the call dropped.
I've added Jeff into the call. Jeff, are you there?
Oh, okay.
Jeff? I'm not sure if I got. Okay.
Yeah. See, I'm learning Skype too. It looks like to mute it, to light up. Well, I'll figure it out. Yeah, there we go. All right. So everything looks like it's going. You can hear me again.
Okay.
Right?
I think we may have Jeff.
I'm here. Jeff is here.
Okay. Good. See, what happened was Flat Earth Head called me. So this is Flat Earth Head, Jeff. And here we are.
How you doing?
Hey, glad to meet you, Jeff.
Oh, you too. Yeah.
And so I took the call, and then it just
Wolfman,
dumped everyone else. Sorry.
Oh, did it? See, it sounds like you guys are having as much fun with Skype as we try. We try to use Hangouts, and it works. And then sometimes, some nights, every 5 minutes, somebody drops out. 2 or 3 at a time, and then sometimes we'll drop the whole group. So I guess it just depends on how much bandwidth it has available and who's used it up at the same time, I guess.
Yeah, we have the same experience here. Sometimes we can get 2 or 3 calls on, and other times we can get 5, and everybody sounds clear, and it's a good time. It's a round table, and but yeah, we haven't done the Hangouts. Have you seen our new website?
Yeah, I was looking at it when he sent me the link here just a little while ago.
Right. Good.
I was checking it out. I'm liking it. Like
Yeah,
I said,
I threw that up
talked a while.
this week, so it's still kind of new.
It looks nice. It looks nice. Definitely like it. I'm always a big horror fan, so it definitely rang all the right bells for me.
Okay, I think I've got everybody else added back in now. Sorry, guys. I don't know why when somebody calls in, I think I need two. I'm going to have to use two different phones. One for the one number and one for the. I think I might have to get two different Skype handles.
Yeah, that's the only way it works. I learned that the hard way also.
And otherwise I can't seem to add people when they call. So, Eric, is that what I do?
Yeah, that's what you got to do because, yeah, exactly. You hit it right on the nose.
So you just use two different Skype IDs, and then I can accept calls and just add them with my mixing board to the group.
Yeah,
that way.
You can't like if I called when I called in and then it cut everybody else off. That happened with John Polk when I called in on his show, and he answered, and then it cut everybody else off. So yeah, it's just a one-line system. Skype is awesome, but it's also kind of just it's a one-line system.
Yeah, what happened was I saw that there was actually two different calls going on at the same time, so I was just like I was gonna actually wipe everything out to brand new again, and then add you guys back. And then I noticed that somebody was calling in, so I just took it. And it is my friend. It is my friend, the Flat Earth Head. Okay, what's your first name again? I just know you as Flat Earth Head.
Yeah, it's Walt, just like Disney, but no satanic agenda. Just
all right.
Just Walt.
Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about the philosophy of you and your peers?
Well, I mean, that being said, we're kind of a diverse group. In our group, we have quite a varying amount of viewpoints towards the model itself. We've all looked at this from many directions. Some of us came at it from a purely mathematic point of view. Some of us came at it from astronomy. That's kind of where I hit it. I'm a big sky watcher from years back, and others just kind of fell into it, being conspiracy buffs or being people looking for truth or whatever. And, as most flat earthers, I started out laughing and trying to debunk this thing, saying this is ridiculous. I've been a space fan and NASA boy my whole life. I was intending to be an astronaut. I took all the hard physics class, and suddenly some of these questions I had that didn't quite ring true back in those days from our professors came back up again, and I started digging to some of those questions. It turned out those were some of the same questions these guys were asking. So here I am almost 2 years later. I've got my own group of guys. We do a podcast about it. We also ask other questions that we've uncovered in this great quest for trying to figure out where we actually live. And we don't have the answers, and that's kind of what this whole thing that we're doing is about, is trying to show that most people think the answers have been found, that we all know we live on a ball. We all know space is whatever it is. The universe is so many billions of miles wide, and all these things are proven facts. Well, they're not. They're just theories that were put together by guys who spend a lot of time playing with a lot of numbers. I mean, the guy who started this whole thing for us with gravity and everything, Newton, his book starts out with the word if. So if you write a big, huge 2,000-page book that starts out with if, that's a theory. That's not a proven fact. But I didn't want to call in and turn this into a flat earth show. Like I said, I was just trying to add you and check out what it's all about. I definitely have had some ghostly experiences in my life as well.
Is Darren there?
I'm here, guys.
Okay, good.
It's fascinating.
Okay.
What?
Do you have any questions?
We have a flat
Darren
earther
or
here?
Jeff? Yeah, my buddy
Definitely.
Walt, and he is a flat earther. He's my the inspiration for my song Flat Earth Head.
Oh,
Really?
sweet.
Nice.
I didn't know I was infamous.
You're infamous.
No doubt.
And you
It's
play
more than
guitar.
famous.
You play guitar as well, don't you, Walt?
I do. That's what I play. Playing for some years. I tend to be on a little heavy side though when I play. I like heavier bands,
Well,
more
this is
technical. Of course, I
kinda,
can't play
you
that
know.
well, but I jam. I like to jam.
How long have you been a flat earther? How long have you been like, convinced?
Convinced? It's going on 2 years, I guess. Going on a year and a half, 2 years. Yeah.
So in your mind, are you like 98% sure or 100% sure?
I have no idea the true shape of the place we live upon. Unfortunately, I don't have the resources or the equipment or the technology to explore it like the people who do have that technology and that money and that resources. We give it to them by the billions per year. And for that, we get CGI images. We get told that 6 missions passed through a Van Allen belt in the early 70s, late 60s. And yet we're repeatedly told that we can't do it now. We have to figure out how to do it and how to get men safely through it, how to get computers through it without wiping out their programs. That's what this whole Mars mission is about, trying to figure out how to get men through the Van Allen belt. And yet we did it with no radiation protection, nothing to account for it at that time. In fact, at that time, it had not been discovered, but they passed through it, no problem. So, and then, this is coming from someone who was a NASA buff. I had figures, I had models, I built all the LEMs, I built all the rockets. And as a 4-year-old watching these things, 3-year-old, it was one thing to see it, but as a going back and watching it now, it just doesn't ring true. Okay, well, let's go forward to, the shuttle. Let's go forward to the ISS. I keep hearing music. I'm sorry.
I don't think that should actually bleed through to the show, but that's just
I
me.
just I heard it in my earphones. I thought maybe.
Oh yeah, you're gonna hear it.
Commercial break happening.
I'm tuning up because I'm gonna play it for you.
But yeah, man, I spent probably 2 months convinced of lunacy, and I would find some way to.
Wolfman.
Yeah, man.
Wait, I can't hear him. I want to hear him.
Yeah. You're bleeding through loud. I can hardly hear myself talk. I don't know how it's set up, but.
I stopped. Oh, you know what? I'll let you guys talk for a sec. I'll take my guitar in the other room and I'll tune it there. Okay. And then I'll be right back. But I'll be able to hear you guys.
What's the one thing that made you convinced? I hear there's a lot of theories that really convince people.
It's just the fact that, when I went out on the beach, knowing from working on them that the rigs are out there 18 miles offshore, and I looked out there and I could see them, it was like, okay, let's do the math. So I pulled it out, and it's 8 inches per mile squared. Well, that's, over 150 miles over the horizon line that it should be, and I'm seeing it with the naked eye. When you pull out a telescope or a binocular or a good zoom lens, and it's right there in your face, and yet it should be 150 feet plus below the curvature that is given as the formula. Now, the guys I'm in on the show with that we do it together, they've all looked at the math curve formula, the curve formula for the curvature, and they're working on trying to figure out what it would really be, because it only works to a quarter of the globe. After a quarter of the globe, you would actually be going back around the curve with the math, and that doesn't work out. It only works out, like I said, to a quarter of the globe. So, like, these guys, they're way more into the physics than I am. I was more the sky watcher, the astronomer. My questions in school, when I had the professors giving me the bad grades for all these questions I didn't answer correctly, were, and when I say correctly, my questions were always asking them questions. I would give them their answer, but then I would go, okay, well, so if aphelion is this, then how does the Earth, which is now being told about the universe by the sun. Because when I was in elementary learning all this stuff, the solar system was in like a plane. Everything all kind of twirled around a flat plane. It didn't turn into this vortex being pulled through the universe until later. When that change took place and they started presenting that model in college, like, okay, well, if that's how it works, then gravity has to have an equal force. When we're coming around this thing that is accelerating away from us and pulling us toward it, then when we get around in front of it, there has to be a force that's either slowing us down or slowing it down. And then when we get around on the other side, we have to have another force that accelerates us away. Just go driving in a car and throw a ball in front of you, and you'll see what I'm talking about.
We have wind.
One time you said to me when you were like a young child, and you were trying to stick water onto a beach ball.
Right.
And you just said this just doesn't work, and there's no way that the Earth, and you come up with this when you were very young.
You take a wet towel and spin it around over your head, and water goes flying everywhere. But the ball spins at 1,000 miles an hour, and it stays on. And I know, okay, so then it's gravity that does that. Okay, so the same gravity that holds metric tonnages of water to a spinning ball, perfectly level in every direction when you're on the water, by the way, but it's holding this metric tonnages of water to a ball. And yet we walk around freely. Jellyfish can live in it. Fish can swim in it. We're a lot of water in our bodies. There's a lot of creatures on the earth that are
there's a lot of mystery to that. The whole thing, like even if it was a flat disc and it was spinning, wouldn't the water fly off the sides too? Like, you know what I mean?
That's a lot of the problem. A lot of people have these things you have to go through and do, because I'm just like you, because I know how a record player works. I know when things are at the edge, they fly off, and the edge increases the revolutions per minute, and I know how all that works too. And that's one of my early questions. So then I found out, well, wait, that's just not possible. So let's look at this a different way. Turns out that when you do the research, the true models of the flat Earth that have been actually around for thousands and thousands of years are a still Earth. It doesn't move, it doesn't spin. It actually isn't floating in an infinite void anywhere. There's no space. There's no vacuum. There's
what's underneath it? What's underneath
We've drilled down 8 miles. That's all I can tell you without a doubt, is that we've drilled down 8 miles, and that's it. And when we get down to that 8 miles, we can't get any deeper.
Wow.
That's the only research I could find on how deep we go.
My first thought is, if you go up in and you see the guys in the space shuttle and they flick water into the air, every little water droplet turns into a sphere. So to me, that in a anti-gravity field of space with no atmosphere, things just naturally form into a sphere.
Well, that's actually water. That's pressure and the way water works itself. I mean, that's how its molecules form. Okay, let's take that water. Okay, like I said earlier, you take it out to the beach and you can't stick it to a beach ball. Well, then you start talking about mass and gravity and polar gravity and gravity well. That's just like saying I can't go out to the beach and take a marble and stick it to a 50-ton boulder out there. Now, that 50-ton boulder should have more gravitational pull than this little marble in my hand. So by the theory of gravity, it should stick to that boulder. But what I'm told is it doesn't, because it falls to the ground because the Earth's pull of gravity is stronger than that pull exerted by that 50-ton rock. Okay, well then why is our moon still in orbit around us? Because the pull of that huge sun is way more powerful than the pull of this Earth.
Oh no, that mother effing weird thing up there is not even natural, dude. I don't even think...
it's not a rock. Oh, it's not a rock.
I think it's hollow, actually, and I believe that's kind of like a Death Star, that thing. That's not natural. That is not a natural satellite. I don't believe it is one bit.
So do you think men have walked there? Or do you think we went to the moon in the 60s and 70s?
I think mankind has been up and all around this solar system for the last 100 million years. What do you think, Darren?
I kind of want to know what he thinks.
Okay.
I'm fascinated.
Oh, I have no doubt that there was no way we went to the moon in the 60s and the 70s.
Right.
I went through the footage. Now, this isn't me watching like a funny thing happen on the way to the moon, or me watching the.
Well, hang on one sec. Let's find out the other people's. Jeff, what do you think? Have we been to the moon?
I believe so. I just got I got a few, I guess, scientific questions. In reference to an Earth being round versus flat, using a compass that detects the North Pole, how would you explain the needle continuing to point north, in relation to where you are moving with, a flat Earth versus a spherical Earth? I can't see how that works with the flat Earth.
I'm not quite understanding your question. Are you just saying how do you navigate on a flat Earth map, basically with the compass?
Well, if you're in California,
if you have a compass, and you let's say the Earth is spherical, and you fly around that Earth at the equator, and you continue to fly around, the compass is going to point to that north. It's going to continue. Let's say you're flying in a counterclockwise direction, and then you continue to fly. The compass stays to your left, or it's pointing up toward the north, and you continue to fly. And when you hit a full 360, doesn't that in itself prove that you've gone around a spherical object just using basic physics?
Exactly. I understand that completely. That's the theory that we all based around Earth on back, when we were told that's what Columbus was trying to prove, etc. Well, the reason the compass point or pole is magnetic, and a compass is designed to react to that magnetism, that magnetic pull. So let's take the flat Earth, quote unquote. Now, when I say that, the reason is I have a lot of problems with what is typically touted as the flat Earth map. There's lots of problems with it. It doesn't work for me in lots of reasons. Size-wise, comparison-wise, the sun would have to move faster in the southern plane, things like that. That's why I'm saying we don't know. We just know that what we're given as the ball proof isn't proof. Back to the thing about the magnetic North Pole. So let's take that record you were talking about earlier, the record, and your hole in the middle of the LP in the record is North Pole. Okay, so the magnetic compass always points to that North Pole. So now you're out on the record at like track 6. You're on the equator, and you're headed west, which in relation to that North Pole compass point, hole is to the right. I'm sorry, to the left. So now you're going in a circle around that record to the left, constantly going to the west, with that needle always showing you that north is pointing north. And all you do is make a big circle following the equatorial line that goes around, they say. Now, again, I have problems with that because the map that they tout as the flat Earth map doesn't work size-wise. Some of the continents don't work relationship-wise to what we've been given with measurements. And if you coordinate it with like airports, sometimes it doesn't line up. And so that's why we have many people working on maps. There's a guy right now using AutoCAD, which is like the program they use. I don't know if you guys probably know what that is, but it's a very high quality vector program they use to render basically anything, mathematical equations, NASA formulas, physics problems, whatever. You can do the whole Earth in it, put atmosphere on it. I mean, you can do just about anything with this thing. And they're trying to work out this map and trying to figure out what the actual sizes are, what the actual shape is. But just for many reasons, as I said, we can go on this for many hours.
Well, I have a question.
Yes.
What shape do you believe the Earth is? Is it like a pancake then, or?
No, I've gone, the disc idea, the fact of there being a disc at all is over for me. I was done with that really early into this because, as you said, a disc, even with an ice wall, even with something, a ring of ice, which is what the theory was they were going with at the time that people were talking about all this, wouldn't be able to hold seas in. We just, I see oceans. I've seen how dynamic they are. I see the waves. I see the tides. There's just nowhere that's going to be held and floating around somewhere. Because as being a space fan, a NASA fan, that was the hardest thing for me to figure out is what is space? How does space work? If we're not a disk, if we're not a floating pancake, if we're not a spinning record, what are we? So I started looking into ancient cosmologies and trying to figure out what some of the old ideas were. And I found some ideas of an infinite plane. And essentially that's the one that seems to work with many of these new maps that have been uncovered. Someone found a 10,000-year-old Tibetan map in Honolulu, Hawaii just a few months back. And it essentially shows in the Medvedev map, it's the azimuthal equidistant projection map, which is essentially the globe squished down from the North Pole outward. But surrounding that and outward from that, around these rings of ice, which are what are called Antarctica, are these other series of these islands. Now, they're not named. They're just shapes drawn on a map. But recently, someone's uncovered a different map that also shows another ring of land outside of what is considered the Antarctic ice ring. And if you go into ancient mythology, like Atlantean mythology or Egyptian mythology, they talk about these worlds that were set up like this, these lands, these places that were ringed outward from a central point, and they went outward in these rings of the islands. And so that kind of fits what these maps show.
Oh, man. Okay. Can I cut you?
There's a book called World Beyond the Poles. I'm sorry. Yeah, I could go on all night, man. I'm sorry.
Walt, hang on.
Yes.
Hang on.
Yes.
It's time for a break. I know everyone needs one. Can you hold on to that? Because I love this. Now we're into Antarctica. So we're talking flat Earth, and we're going to go into the Antarctic after this break on Monster Castle Paranormal. I'm going to put on the most recent recording I have is from a jam session of Flat Earth Head right now. Okay? And we'll see you guys back in a few minutes. I think this goes through a terrible ordeal first before we go into it. But bear with me because this is a raw jam session that we're about to listen to here. Okay?
Aren't you gonna play live?
Yeah, I'm gonna play this. What the hell? I know it ends up into Flat Earth Head at the end, but it's 12 minutes long, so we got a 12-minute break. Everyone can. We're halfway through the show. Everyone can have a little break and listen to this craziness. Okay. We'll be back shortly with Monster Castle Paranormal.
Everybody rock and roll, yeah, baby, I am the Wolfman Mike, yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. Rock and roll, yeah.
Okay, let's do Drug Box. Away you go. Away you go now.
Wow, the song is in the complete version I heard.
You can't even hear it. I'm running it through the
On page 86 part, yeah, slow, slow, rocking version.
This
Oh,
is
that's
more
awesome.
heavier.
Oh yeah, it's probably when it cranked up, because I came on just as it was about to start. I heard
It
you
hasn't
say,
even
yeah,
hit
this
the
is
chorus
yeah.
yet. Here we go. Head, don't you have nowhere else to vent your torment? Flat Earth head, you know they've lied to you. Do you have nowhere else to vent your torment? Flat Earth head. You know that they've lied to you.
be a good Halloween costume to walk into a party with a flat Earth head.
Right? Believe me, I thought of trying to figure out a way to do it. I'm working on it.
That would be awesome. I would freaking dig it. I'm gonna be actually, you know what? Going to a party in Hollywood at a haunted castle. Well, not a castle. I should say that. Haunted house. I'm a lady with a bangers.
Whoa, yeah. Anyway, I could probably play it better on the guitar just myself, but that was crazy. Anyway, it gave us a little break, and we needed one, and we're back.
And we needed one.
Yeah.
And we're back.
What the hell? I'm hearing toilets flushing. Oh my goodness. Okay. Let's have lots more toilets flushing.
Lots of toilets.
What about the throwing things through the window? Throwing things through the window, Jeff. Can you throw something through the window, please? Yeah, throw it. Okay, that's it. Yeah.
All right.
We needed
Hey,
that.
I got a question about the toilets. So, if you're the northern hemisphere, and when you flush a toilet, it spins in one direction, and when you're south of the hemisphere, it spins in the other direction when you flush it. How do you explain that?
I was
don't know.
actually
I'm just trying to figure
thinking,
it out.
I was thinking you were joking at first. Go ahead.
No, I'm serious.
Walt.
Unfortunately, he's not joking because that's been around a while. Here's the thing. Number one, explain to me how being north or south of an invisible line that doesn't truly exist anywhere but on a map would cause toilets to spin one way or the other on a ball.
That's a serious question. Yeah, I'm really curious.
I know. So it really doesn't. It's a myth. If you Google that, you'll find out that's a myth. It depends on the toilet. There are toilets in North America that spin both directions. I can go in my sink, which is a two-sided sink, and unplug both. And just depending on anything, the way your hand moves through the water, the way you pull the sink stopper out, they can both spin in opposite directions.
Okay, so if there's no directional flow in the water and it's just a draining plug in the bottom and you just pull it out, has this experiment been done?
You're breaking up a lot. You're breaking up a lot.
Eric had a question about the other planets.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead. You ask the question, please.
Are the other planets that you see in the sky, are they round or are they flat too?
When I look at them through a telescope or a pair of astronomical binoculars, they do indeed resolve into what looks to be an orb.
But do you think they're flat?
I don't know. Haven't been. But I will tell you this. When I look at Venus and when I look at Jupiter with the naked eye, which you can see with the naked eye from certain elevations on very clear nights, they do not resolve into an orb. That being said, certain types of telescopes use parabolic mirrors to collect light, which therefore can bend things into something that looks like a sphere. When you look up at the moon, it definitely appears to be sphere-like.
Yeah, because
I don't think it is. The moon is definitely a mystery. One of the first things I heard that didn't make sense is that the moon isn't reflecting sunlight. I'm like, well, okay, that makes absolutely no sense. How is it? Show me something that would prove that. So I started looking into some things about the different properties of sunlight and moonlight. Sunlight will make jerky. Sunlight will make sun-dried tomatoes. Sunlight is a different light. Moonlight actually makes a fire burn brighter. Daylight makes a fire dampen down. Moonlight will dull razor blade. Set a razor blade out on a porch or on a windowsill or something on a very full moon. It'll be dull the next morning.
Unless you put it in a pyramid structure.
Unless you put it in a pyramid. This man has done some research. I am impressed, sir.
Actually, I knew about this way before it was ever on the internet. My buddy and Patrick Flanagan and I were talking about this way back in the day.
Dude, I'm talking the 70s. I had made a little pyramid and made yogurt in it. I did the experiment with the blade and the moonlight then too. That's crazy. Anyway.
So you read Patrick Hang on, Walt. Did you read Patrick Flanagan's book, Pyramid Power? Back in the 70s?
Yes, sir. I still have it somewhere here. Yes,
okay, yeah, so did I. So we
Yes,
started
sir.
on the
That's
same page.
See, we're definitely brothers and from other mothers, definitely. Awesome. Yeah. Another thing about moonlight is it is, believe it or not, moonlight is colder than the shade it produces. Now, I know that sounds crazy, but I went outside with a laser temperature gun myself and did an experiment. I have it videoed. I just haven't got it set up and put it on my channel yet, but I can send you guys a rough copy if you'd like to see it. And I took a white sheet of paper and set it in moonlight. I took a white sheet of paper and set it in the shade that moonlight was producing. I shot the little beam or whatever comes out of there, laser, I don't know what it is. And they registered consistently 3 to 5 degrees temperature difference, colder in the moonlight than in the shade it was producing. And I switched the paper back and forth twice to make sure it was, the actual area of the moonlight or whatever doing what was happening. I moved it to different areas of moonlight. Later on, I did it in the house with moonlight shining through a window pane onto a wall. I tested the temperature of where the moon was shining, where it wasn't shining on the wall. Now, inside, with temperature being controlled by air conditioning and things, I only got like 3 degrees difference. But there was a consistent difference of temperature being colder in moonlight than in the shade it produces.
Why is that?
Happened with moon? I don't know, because obviously the moon is producing its own light. It isn't reflecting sunlight.
Okay, that's really weird. Just when you said that, I'm trying to message Jeff, and I look, and something screws up on Skype, and it says 47 seconds into call. So there we go, 47 again. Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
Oh, that's the great thing. I love synchronicities like that. Yeah, why that happens, I don't know. I mean, consistently, I've taken photographs and videos of the sun in a phase that isn't possible by where the sun is positioned. For instance, well, let's just say the moon is like rising in the east. It's about 20 degrees up in the sky. The angle of its phase in its waning is pointing up in the sky at, say, a 2 o'clock position. So that would put the sun having to be up in the sky somewhere in that 2 o'clock position to hit the moon and make the phase work on a ball in the sky. But the sun is setting behind me in the west, completely almost below the horizon. So how is that reflecting that sun behind me?
How do you explain
I'll send the videos.
The crescent moon.
That's the moon I'm talking about, a crescent moon. Wait, what is your question? I'm sorry. I may not be understanding your question.
Well, if it was producing light itself, why would it do a crescent moon?
Again, I don't have all the answers. That's what we're looking for. A theory is that it is part of its nature, part of what it is. Like someone mentioned earlier, that it's not necessarily a natural thing, that maybe it was placed there. Who, when, where, not sure. Still working on all that too. Lots of ancient cosmologies did not include a moon in Earth's sky.
Jeff, what do you think?
Well, I was kind of curious about the werewolves. And the moonlight. I mean, is that why is it that when the moonlight comes out that the werewolves change form, and does that have something to do with it?
I did a lot of research on lycanthropy a long time ago, and I never put that back into the equation. That's you've got me looking at that now. I'm going to look at that. I never have. That's interesting because it is a definite phenomenon that people experience. Now, I don't know that, you know.
Right. So
that's interesting. That's wild. That could definitely have an effect on lunacy, you know, the way people act when the full moon is out.
That's what I was going to mention.
Yeah. I see something else. I'm so busy with the science and trying to figure out what's going on in the sky that I never put it to what's going on in here with it. Wow.
Right. Yeah, so a few nights out of the week, I work in the emergency room, and you know, we always look for trends because, you know, full moons or new moons, and you know, we get like an influx of people, and you know, they have these ailments and accidents.
Yes, sir. I know she told me the same thing growing up. Yep.
And you know, and sometimes it coincides, sometimes it doesn't. But more often than not, you're going to see a lot more stuff happening when there's a new moon and there's no moonlight out. So I'm just wondering if you have an opinion on that.
Maybe it's that dampening effect that it has on fires. No, it increases the fire. Never mind, I'm looking in it the wrong direction. Yeah, I don't know. Again, it's just finding out that the temperature difference blew my mind. You know, I didn't even think that was something that would be true when I heard it. And I'd seen people doing some experiments, but until you actually do it for yourself, and again, I tell that to everybody. You know, stuff I'm talking. This is stuff I've looked at for almost 2 years. You know, when I started finding these things out, I started doing my own experiments, like this one with the moonlight, or going out and filming the sun, doing a time lapse of the sunset. You know, trying to figure out, is it really going away across the sky, or is it going down and below the horizon line? And it turns out, from many experiments I did, it does go across the sky away from me and to the right, which kind of fits in with it circling around this flat plane. But that also doesn't work with the Antarctic or what goes on with the stars at the south area.
So what about
There's lots of questions we're working on, Tess.
What about this geosynchronous orbit of the moon, or the, you know, this theory that the moon is locked on and we only see one face and it doesn't rotate? You know, what do you think about that?
Technically, it does rotate. It's just the rotate is such that its rotation is in sync with us in such a way that its face always faces us. Now, that's its orbit in relation to us facing us. It actually wheels across the sky through the night.
So is the moon a sphere, or is it flat, or is it not a sphere?
If I was to put a shape to it, and this, I know it's going to sound silly, but I was walking through a hobby store recently, and there's this thing called Uncle Milton's Moon in Your Room. Have you seen it, perhaps?
I have not.
Okay, it's a night light, basically. You stick on the wall. It's shaped like... oh, I know. Take a classic UFO. That's what it's shaped like. Rounded edges.
Okay.
Like a cornea lens of an eye, maybe. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
So it has rounded edges.
So
the shapes of
a little bit of
crater.
A little bit of background about myself. I did help publish an astronomy textbook. So I have a little understanding of how astronomy works, as well as I used to fly when I was in the Marine Corps. So, you know, filing flight plans and flying from point A to point B.
Right.
So when I would fly somewhere, I wouldn't fly, you know, directly across, because it was actually shorter distance-wise to fly, I guess, in an arc across the sphere of the Earth. And so that's the route I would take, is I would fly, you know, if I was flying from the east coast of the U.S. to like the UK, I would fly a little bit north, because it was shorter flying that direction than it would be to fly around like the latitude, you know, the latitudinal lines. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been looking at all these things. Yes, sir.
And go ahead.
I have another friend on here.
Wait,
that,
I'm sorry. Will you take off on a
I would like to
question? I wanna
introduce
ask-
you to Yuck Nasty. Walt, this is my friend Yuck. He's interested in what you're saying. He's got a question for you. How you doing, Yuck?
Okay, I'm sorry. Before he asks that question, can I ask? I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name that just asked or mentioned the astronomy and the pilot. I didn't
This
mention
is
your-
Jeff D.
Jeff. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just too many new people. I'm bad with names. Okay.
Right, no, that's okay.
I have wanted to ask a pilot this question.
Okay.
Okay. Gyroscopes. Rigidity in space. Okay. A gyroscope, does it not, when you spin it up, stay in rigid position, locked into where it started its spin up? In other words, if you took it from where it is around quarter way of the globe, it would then go from being horizontal to the globe to being, to being vertical to the globe to being horizontal to the globe in its relation to its XY axis. Is that not correct?
It stays in relation. It's an absolute position, so it doesn't change when you say go 90 degrees around the Earth. It will
Right.
It will be perpendicular. If you started out parallel to the Earth, it will now be in a perpendicular position with a quarter way around the Earth. Absolutely.
Man, I wish I had John here. I don't know enough about gyroscopes to ask the correct question I'm trying to ask, I guess, and without diagrams. It's just that has come up in our discussions. Is gyroscopes, that they should in some way be able to show us a spin or be used to verify a spin. Because so far, no experiment to prove the spin of the Earth has succeeded. The Planck probes were launched. 3 different probes were launched by Max Planck, which came back showing no movement to the Earth, which then prompted Einstein to write the theory of relativity, showing that that's why these stars weren't showing movement in relation to the Earth, because they were so far away. And then the Ares failure, he tried to do it with water in a telescope. Water should slow down the photons of the light in relation to the spin, and it didn't happen. It didn't show any spin. Numerous times, experiments to show the spin of the Earth haven't shown the spin. And so one of my friends is trying to do an experiment with a gyroscope. So far, he had it going for 6 hours on some graph paper with some, measurements and lines that would mean more to you being a pilot, because he knows more about, like I said, the navigation side of this than I do. Maybe we should get you on our show one day, sir, if that would be all right. That would be awesome to have you.
Wow.
Just-
okay.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Okay, guys.
All right, so back
talking
to
about
I
spin.
don't know how to ask the question, so sorry it wasn't a good question to interrupt meeting the new guy. Yuck, how you doing? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, Yuck. Can you bring us into a break? And maybe, do you got anything crazy you could sing for us? Maybe we could sing a song together, you and I, for the break.
All right, hold on, my microphone.
It's working.
Hey, man, you can't throw me on the spot. Hey, Yuck. Hey, nice to meet you guys.
Right,
Thanks
sing.
man.
Hey, thanks
Look,
for-
he just wants to throw me to start singing songs for you guys
I'm
too. all of a
joking.
sudden.
No, I know you have a question. Go ahead. I know you have a question. It is break time, but let's let Yuck have his question because he's been waiting a long time here.
Oh man, go ahead and take the break. I honestly was I'm just catching everything now. So, again, it's great to meet you guys. I can't wait to hear more.
It's pretty
Take your
wild.
break, Wolfman.
Pretty wild
we'll keep-
topic, tonight?
Yeah, I'm loving it, and I'm gonna hear more before we can let these guys go.
Okay. Well, you know what I think I'm gonna do? I think I might just what the heck? Let's play oh, this is getting close to Halloween. Let's play the Ghost Tree. What do you think? Sound spooky? It's a song by my brother, actually. He's going to kill me for playing this. Okay, doing it. Here it goes.
Ghost Tree, right on, baby, yeah. From the Wolfman.
So, yeah, you say you only have a few more minutes with us?
No, about an hour. I said I didn't know we'd gotten back on there. I apologize.
okay,
Yeah,
well-
I'm here for another hour. So.
Well, we
I
got
didn't know.
50
Show-
we got 50 minutes left to play with here. So,
Sounds perfect.
okay. I've got Eric back now, I think. Eric, are you there? Okay. Marcus, have you got any questions for the guest?
I'm here. I'm sorry. I had it on mute. Yes,
Okay.
I am.
And Marcus, you haven't asked any questions yet. I'm wondering if you have any questions. Are you there? Marcus is our silent in the background guy that's usually monitoring everything.
We have one in our group. We have one we call the Nightcrawler for that very reason.
Yeah, he usually is listening to the feed or something and trying to make sure our sound is good or doing research for us while we're sending us little
Right,
notes.
but let me guess. When he does put in, it's concise and to the point, and he gets it across well.
Oh yeah.
See, that's our guy.
Okay,
Josh,
well,
that's our Nightcrawler.
Marcus, are you there? Okay. Well, it shows he's Marcus. Going once, going twice. All right, it's back to you, Jeff.
Here I am.
You
back
got the
again.
ball, man. It's in your court. I told you it's your show tonight, man.
Yeah, right. That's why it's called the Wolfman. Yeah. Anyway, I had a question. Because my background of flying and astronomy and science and you think like the Earth is like kind of like an upside down, maybe not pyramid, but like cone, and we're kind of living on the top, and then what's underneath. And what about the
That's the cone.
yeah, the cone? Is that something that's more along the lines, and if are we spinning? That's my question. Are we spinning?
Well, I missed where the cone came into the equation. I don't know about the cone. That might be a new one I've missed.
Okay, I got something to add from that.
And the spinning, no, we're motionless. That's what I was explaining earlier with Ares failure, with the Planck probes that showed we're motionless. I mean, it's been with tests been proven at least 5 different times with scientific. These are, if you look them up, Ares failure, look it up.
Right.
These prove no spin to the Earth. There is no spin. We do not move.
I'm really familiar with the Iridium satellite system that used to partially be up. I use those for communication as well as some other our GPS satellites. How do satellites fit into the picture? That really how does that fit into a flat Earth?
It's hard. It really is. Originally, my theories went with the smaller satellites that they're really going with now. I mean, the shoebox sized ones. The ones I'm talking about. That's my theory at early into this, that there's some type of an because electromagnetism is a big part of the model we're working with. This is an electromagnetic world we live in. Well, I mean, take it like this. You take a magnetic pole in the center of, and you surround it by salt water, and you're on your way to a battery right there. But I digress. Anyway, so this electromagnetic theory, if there's an area that you can get above density, air pressure, buoyancy, all the things that we account for gravity with, then maybe there is an area up there where you leave enough of those forces that things of a certain weight, a certain density could perhaps become weightless and stay aloft. More likely, though, well, let me ask you this. If we have, and again, the number, I have researched it and have been given a number anywhere from 300 or 400 to 3,000 or 4,000 to ridiculously 30,000. How many satellites do we have in orbit right now? Do you know a number? I can't find one. But if we have that
I know
many, I'm sorry.
We have in the tens of thousands.
That's
tens
what I've
of
been
thousands.
told. Okay, if we have tens of thousands of these satellites doing all these communications they're doing up there, why is Google investing millions and billions of dollars in Google Loon, which is a series of balloons to increase their communication, these solar-powered planes? There's also these high-powered, I can't remember the name of it. It's got a big wingspan. It's a super high altitude plane that is used to redirect internet signal to areas where there are military operations going on that they don't have good internet connection. So if all these satellites are up there right now, and go look at Google Loon's project, it's extensive. So triangulation, some people go with the dome idea. I don't really play the dome idea myself. I think it's more of a, like I said, there's an electromagnetic barrier up there. They call it the Van Allen belt. It's, it's been proven, it's out there. I used to listen to AM radio stations from Japan and Mexico late at night because it would bounce off the atmosphere. There's lots of ways communication can be taking place. The LAN system we had, the early warning system we had, the distant early warning system we had in pre-internet was just a series of towers that worked perfectly to keep us warned if any missiles were coming across. There's lots of ways that technology could, be used to triangulate. 3 towers and a cell phone is all you need for GPS. All I can say is in every ISS live feed I've watched, and in the last going on 2 years, I have watched literally hundreds of hours. I've yet to see a launch of a satellite. The only launch of a satellite I've seen was an obvious computer animation. I've yet to see a satellite go by. I've yet to see a satellite in a live feed. But when I go back 3 days later to the exact 3-hour period I watched live, suddenly that is canned and it's got beautiful aurora borealis, not there live, lightning, not there live, city lights, not there live. But I watched it 2 days ago and those things where they weren't there, but now it's canned and it's produced, and now that same time period has all this beautiful footage and animation on it. There's just lots of places that, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I've watched the ISS, feeds of the, of the Earth spinning, and the only way I could explain it is that it is a sphere. It's round, or it's a globe. These are live feeds, and it correlates to where the space station is in relation to where they say it is at the time of day, and they're showing. You can coordinate also with the weather patterns, the storms, and you see that the Earth itself is like rotating on an axis, and that's what I've seen. So I'm just curious why you would try to go with another theory. I know some of the other stuff you mentioned, but I haven't really.
I did, like I said, I've watched hundreds. And I'm not. When people say that, I'm currently disabled and I have a lot of free time. So I've watched hundreds of hours since I've been on this quest. And I've seen things like, okay, the cameras are 50 feet apart, the 2 live feeds that you can tap into, roughly,
right.
50 feet apart, facing in different directions. Okay. So on one camera. Now, and this is always, it's up there, 1,700 miles an hour. It's orbiting. It's up there, but we can't stay in constant 24-hour communication with it. Constantly losing feed. It cuts away. We're having a problem. Or whatever. Okay, well, that's one thing. Then the other thing is it's live, and I'm watching, and okay, it's getting close. I'm also watching the feed at the bottom that shows where it is on the square map, with the sunlight, daylight. Graph
maybe they're using Skype. I don't know.
Right, possibly. But anyway,
they're
so the sun is coming up, and we're getting ready to see the sunrise. And okay, so the sun is about to come up, and on the camera, on screen 1, the camera is all of a sudden just a wash of light. We don't actually get to see the sun come up. Okay, so it's a wash of light. But on camera 2, it's still dark. So that'll suddenly it'll be bright, right? And now camera 1 still white and light and bright, blinding light, and now camera 2 still dark. Okay, what's going on? Oh, click now. Camera 2 suddenly daylight on instantly, not faded and it's just instantly daylight. Okay, that's cool. Wait, camera 1 suddenly black again and dark and got the city light thing, the air glow layer thing, and now camera 2 is lit up and camera 1 is now still showing us the night. I mean, it just doesn't hold up when you watch the hours that I've watched. The footage doesn't hold up. I mean, where's the aurora when I'm watching it live? Where's the city right below when I'm watching it live? Where's the parallax that should be occurring when I'm watching it live? When I'm watching it live, it comes across all like a big roll, like a piano player. In reality, the distant line of clouds should be moving really slow towards me, and the ones right here close to the camera should be moving really fast towards me. That's what parallax is. And you don't see that in the live footage. It doesn't happen because they can't do that in computer graphics yet.
Well, it's a very small parallax if you're talking 50 feet and the the space station is miles up there.
I'm talking parallax from the corner of from the distant edge of the Earth, from the cloud layer that's at the corner of the horizon line that's looking away into the distance. From that bay of clouds out there in the distance, it shouldn't be moving the same speed as this bay of clouds right here that's about to pass under the ISS. Parallax requires that the clouds in front of the camera that are about to pass under it, passing under it, should move at a faster speed than the clouds that are coming towards the camera from the distant horizon line. That's parallax. That's what that is. And it doesn't do that on the ISS feed. If you watch it, it's all moves the same exact speed all the time, constantly.
So speaking of the different speeds of, that you see come across the screen, if it is a scroll of types, why is it that the areas near the poles seem to move at a slower speed in relation to the speed at which the equator crosses across the screen? How does
ISS though, not the live feed?
That's a good question. I mean,
if you show it to me, I'll be glad to observe it.
Okay.
I just haven't seen it happen.
I've got one for you guys. One time it was about 1996, and I observed some kind of phenomenon. And this was in Aylmer, Ontario, and that's near Tillsonburg. I don't know if you ever heard the Stompin' Tom Connors song about Tillsonburg. My back still hurts when I hear that word, but it's about tobacco. But it's a tobacco area. So anyway, what I saw was it was rings coming up from the horizon all the way around and going straight up towards the middle of the sky. Really bizarre. I think and I've seen the Northern Lights before, and it was very similar to this, but I'm not sure if it was a solar flare that was hitting the atmosphere, but I saw rings from 360 degrees around me, and then the rings were like almost like a Jacob's ladder, going straight up towards the middle of the sky overhead.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I've seen the pictures of what you're talking about.
Yeah, I was watching this phenomenon, and it's amazing how other people don't notice things like this. And I'm standing there just spellbound, and people are just walking by me on the street, and I'm like, don't you guys freaking see that, man? Look what's going on here. Look. And you could see this above the light from the street lights, like it was that bright and noticeable, like. And I'm just
every light source was doing it, or just like the sun itself?
No, it was coming like a circle, like a ring, like almost like a smoke ring, from 360 degrees around me, going straight up and smaller till it reached a peak at the center right above my head, and then disappeared, and then another ring would come up. And it was glowing rings of smoky light that was going up and up and up. And I don't really know what it was. The only thing I could say, possibly Northern Lights, or I think that it was possibly a solar flare that was hitting the atmosphere and causing this. But it was kind of like, I've seen Northern Lights before in the same area around the same time, and it doesn't usually come that far south because this is southern Ontario. But
well, speaking of the north area, do you notice I'm not sure how far north you are. Well, let me give you my experience. I live in the south. I'm sure you picked that up from my accent. Where I'm at, sunset's 8:30ish. It gets dark by 9. Sun rises 7:30 in the morning. We have dark all night long. So I went up north to Oregon for about 3 months. And while I was there, the sun would set about 10:30ish. It would stay glowing in the west way into like 11:30, 12 o'clock. And then it would finally get dark. And then within like 2 hours, 3 hours, by 3:30, I'm seeing dawn in the east, which doesn't happen in the south. So I'm looking at the area. I'm trying to figure out, why am I seeing this here, especially in these mountains? You would think I would see less sunlight in mountains than I would in a flat area where I live. I'm wide open. I should be able to see the sun everywhere. But it just didn't work until I started looking at the idea of maybe the sun, does circle around. So if you're further north, then you're closer to where it's going to go around there to the swing around to the west, I guess you could say west. And then as it comes back around again, being further north, you're going to catch it. I don't know, like I said, just trying to make it work out. Do you see it that way? Do you see a lot of light in the sky, dark, after dark, and then early morning? It sounds like you're further east than Oregon. It sounds like you're more to the east side of Canada.
I'm right beside Lake Erie, above Lake Ontario. I'm more east, so like it's Eastern Standard Time here. So
what time do you?
But
how long
you can go a lot
sunlight?
further east, than I am, like Quebec, and then you're New Brunswick and Nova Scotia and Prince Edward Island, and Newfoundland. So, but yeah, here we usually don't see anything like Northern Lights. Like actually, parts of Michigan are further north than where I'm at.
So. Well, I don't think this had anything really to do with the Northern Lights per se. This just was strictly sunlight still being observable till like 11:30 at night sometimes, and then coming up 3:30 in the morning.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably a reflection of the clouds, and it reflects in it depending on the conditions of the atmosphere. Light can reflect back off the clouds and then back down to the earth. And a lot of times it's city lights that's doing that, and not the sun. I think that's just city lights bouncing off the clouds and back down. That's what I would guess. And it looks kind of orange.
Oh no, this was definitely sunset and sunrise. I'm quite man. I've been looking at the sky since I was, literally at least 2 when I watched the. First
I don't know. I'm puzzled by this. Jeff, you got anything on that?
No, nothing on that. Sorry.
Okay.
They say there that's how it is. I mean, they're used to that. They're used to it there up in the the northwest. Sorry, I was wondering about the northeast.
If you go far enough north, I know that they have like how do you explain that the sunlight, like if you keep going north, then they get like 9 days of light and then 9 days of dark, like. With the flat Earth theory, how would you explain that?
Wait, you mean 9 days back to back, and then 9 days back to back to dark? I thought it was months on end of light.
Yeah, actually, I think it is months on end, but
it is. Yeah, it's months. The northern 24-hour sun thing is definitely consistent with a North Pole being in the center of a flat Earth and the sun going around. As it moves on its track towards the center for the time of summer, which is when it happens for that time of the year, then it's closer to the North Pole, going closer around it, and theoretically that is why you're seeing it there 24 hours a day all the time. Now, there's been footage filmed. I wish we could do video here. I don't know how it works on here. We can kind of share some things sometimes with the Hangouts, but I don't know if you can on Skype.
Yeah, definitely
There's
you can,
footage,
and we can. If you send me something on Skype, I can post it on our #47Talk chat room and our Facebook.
It's basically it's classic footage of the sun, and it's kind of like just going around and around the sky. The camera follows it over I think he said it took like 2 days, 3 days to film it. And it was just around and around and around, the sun going up and down, up and down, up and down. And
we're going to have our last break right now, and then we'll come back and finish this discussion with Walt, the Flat Earth Head, the inspiration to my song. I'm going to play a song right.
And I still never heard Yuck's question. I'd like to hear Yuck's question before we...
Is he still there, Yuck?
I don't know if he's still
Yeah, man, I'm back. Go ahead and take your last break, man. I'll come back and we can finish it off like that.
Okay, and then Yuck will come back with the first question. That sounds great.
Thanks, man.
All right, man. Okay, everybody, smoke 'em if you got 'em. You might need 'em. Because this is a crazy night here on Monster Castle Paranormal.
Right on. I'm going to sing a song. I'm not going to sing it. I'm going to play one. Oh, yeah, baby.
I'm muted.
Hell yeah, welcome back Monster Radio. My name is Wolfman Mike. Yeah, don't make fun of the last song, because I'll kill you if you do. How you doing today? Spirit Radio.
So, yeah, you had a question, man. You had a question for me earlier. We never got to it.
Well, dude, honestly, he threw me to the bus and he threw me out to the wolves. I was trying to think of something, but oh man, that was cool listening.
You guys have 1,000 questions for this crazy stuff, because trust me, I started out laughing and making fun of this and thinking it was ridiculous too. And within a month, I had questions I couldn't find answers to. Within 2 months, I had brought in my fiance and friends, trusted, because believe me, the last thing I wanted to go up to somebody and say, hey, I think the Earth's flat, because it's ridiculous. I mean, we're literally from school, we're trained to knee-jerk reaction when you hear that is, oh, that's idiocy, that's old thinking, that's been gone since the.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. So you are an advocate for the flat Earth conspiracy? Is that what you say?
I am a non-globularist, sir. I am convinced this Earth is not a spinning globe floating in an infinite void being pulled around by a blob of burning gas. That is 100% what I'm convinced of. Now, the rest of it
is
still working out. I do know it from what I've observed, from observations I and people across the plane have made.
And you are a pilot, right?
I am not, but in my group we have 3, and they are very, very well versed in the question I asked Jeff earlier about the that I asked poorly of Jeff earlier about the gyroscopes. As I said, we've got physicists, we've got pilots, we've got mathematicians, we've got average guys. I don't call myself an astronomer by any means, but I have been looking at the sky and studying astronomy my whole life.
Right on.
I've taken all the hard science classes. I was actually a molecular biology major, but it just never worked out for me to do the space program. So here I am now, 30 odd years later, saying that I'm kind of glad I didn't get into it, because maybe I wouldn't have found out some of these things I found out over this last year. And it's not like I think that everyone at NASA knows the truth, or everyone is in on a conspiracy. Most people are there making a check, trying to get through their life, just like every one of us has jobs and bills and a wife and kids and circumstances. And if they do see something, makes them question something. Are they going to risk their pension? Are they going to risk their social standing? I mean, I've lost friends. I have a friend of 20.
All right, let me ask you this. Okay, WikiLeaks, right? All the Podesta emails that just came out. Do you understand? You know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
All right, so I cannot remember the fucking astronaut's name. I think he says he's the 5th man on the moon. There was a leak from the WikiLeaks from the Podesta emails where the 5th man on the moon was emailing Podesta where he wanted to talk to him about friendly, ETIs is what he called them.
Right.
And they wanted to talk about 0-point energy. I mean, does that not fucking debunk your theory, though?
Well, okay. I was kind of leading into this a little earlier and we got sidetracked. A theory that I've come across is that there is an infinite universe, without a doubt. But this infinite universe is land. That there are exits at the poles, north, south, east, and west, just that you can get out of this area that we are, quote unquote, contained in this ice ring called Antarctica.
Yes, I've seen the fucking things where it's like ice walls, 8-mile walls of ice around everything. Is that what you're talking
Admiral
about?
Byrd, right? Admiral Byrd. He found an area at least the size of America.
Admiral Byrd is the one who flew into the center of the Earth, right?
Allegedly, he did. Yes.
Yes, I know who Admiral.
And, 8 miles down, that's a lot of area to cover. I mean, it could go into some caverns and some places that he could definitely explore. Now, I've had that question too. How does Hollow Earth fit into flat Earth?
Again, I was going to ask that.
I can go. I actually come from quite an extensive ET background. I did a lot of research in the 80s and 90s, met quite a few people in the field.
Man, we respect
you. Lloyd Pye was a close friend. I got to actually observe and handle the Star Child skull up close quite a number of times with him. So I'm well versed in that field. The Hollow Earth theory has a lot of weight behind it in the studying I have done over the years. Now let's take that North Pole area and let's say there's a magnetism flux there that is part of what is, you know, the North Pole and part of what is this electromagnetic flux area. That is part of what is causing the sun, the moon, and the stars all to be up there. I don't want to say necessarily a projector, but an interaction with. Here we go. Now this is when it starts getting really crazy.
Exactly. It's an International Space Station projection. Is that what you think?
Oh, no. The ISS.
There's a lot of things that when you start seeing when the shit's up there, and especially with this theory, there's so much craziness.
There is. And that's the thing. There's so much craziness out there that it gets people deflected and they go, oh, this is too much. And they just walk away. Unfortunately, in the wreck I had 2-3 years back, I've had way too much time on my hands. So I could dig a little deeper. And I do a lot of reading. I don't just trust the internet and YouTube and et cetera. I go to the library. I do a lot of extensive research. I've looked through the map room trying to find my secret hidden flat earth map that I could, uncover.
Right on.
Because there's been a few that have been uncovered in the last few years.
Well, I
the
really,
Gleason's
actually, I really dig it that you
you
guys brought Hollow Earth into this. Sorry.
Yes, Hollow Earth.
Yeah, I was going to ask the same question. I can't believe you asked that, Yuck. That's what I was going to say. How do you fit Hollow Earth into the flat Earth? Yeah. And
well,
I also wanted to mention when Jeff said something about the cone-shaped Earth, I had a buddy at work actually tell me that's what he believes, and he doesn't believe it's flat, and he doesn't believe it's round. He believes it's cone-shaped. So there is people that are actually believing in the cone-shaped Earth, because he said to me, and that's what he said, how can it be hollow Earth and flat Earth at the same time? It has to be cone-shaped. So that's the conclusion he came up with. But anyway.
Oh, so it can be deep enough. I see.
Yeah.
I see. Hey, well, we had Nero's mythology. It wasn't like they went hundreds of miles in there. They got in a few miles, met some civilizations, and was like, wow, freak out. Let's meet these people and hang out. It's not like they went for hundreds and hundreds of miles deep. They may have went hundreds and hundreds of miles. Let's say you go down a mile or two deep. Man, think, you're a mile or two deep beneath the crust of the earth. Now, if there's caverns left and right, north, south, however you want to say it, it could be civilizations in that little area just alone. It doesn't have to be 100 miles down. It doesn't have to be that deep. Like I said, I know looking into the drilling and the geology, all we've done is 8 miles drilling-wise with our toughest drill bit, and that's as deep as we can. So I don't discount Hollow Earth at all. I do think there's lots more going on at the North Pole than we can even conceive of. I think it has a lot to do with the sun and the moon. I don't even believe the whole thing. A lot of people in the flat earth think the sun is 32 miles up, and I don't believe that. I've watched the sun do too many different crazy things in the sky to believe it's that close. I don't think it's 92 million miles away, but I don't think it's 32 miles up either.
I was like, so.
Well, I've got a lot of footage. I'm working on. I have a channel. It's my channel is Flat Earth Head Prods, short for production. Flat Earth Head Prods on YouTube. But I also have a group that we all do a Flat Earth show. But we talk about a lot of topics. We talk about some of the paranormal things. We talk about some of the control system.
All right. I have.
It's havenosphere.com is us. Havenosphere.
My bad, man. My bad.
That's cool. Just wanted to get it in. I'm not sure how much time we have left.
No doubt, man. I didn't mean to talk over your plugs, brother.
You're all good, my friend. All good. You know how it is.
Okay. Yeah. No, ask that question. Ask it.
But ask that question, yes.
All right. So, do you get angry when people disagree with you?
I get frustrated by being called moron. I get aggravated when people tell me I shouldn't reproduce. I get,
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, obviously,
yeah.
everybody's gonna get pissed off if they're talking like that.
Well, I'm just saying it's all too regular because all I'm doing is questioning things, which I've done my whole life. That's what led me into ET research. That's what led me into meeting Lord Pye. That's what led me into all the things I've discovered in my life. The ghost hunting I've done. I mean, like I said earlier, we were talking about ghosts and got way sidetracked with flat Earth. Not
okay.
my plan.
I want to get
ghosts.
back on that. Walt, if you don't mind, I got one question for you, and
Sure.
that is, since we only have about 15 minutes left, the first thing was, have you ever seen any ghosts or UFOs or any sightings of your own? Or even Bigfoot or anything, lake monster, anything?
No lake monsters. I saw something as a young kid in a small town I lived in. We had sightings. It was regularly sighted there in the area, actually. Many farmers were regularly startled by this beast. The classic, Sasquatch, Yeti, whatever,
Whoa.
The ones that would be with evolution that's what we would be, a Sasquatch, if something had not intervened. Now, I've gotten way past that theory, but we'll get on that another show. That'd be another 2 hours. Anyway, but yeah, I've had some sightings of UFOs. Ghosts were a regular occurrence growing up with my family. I guess just being that, I guess some families are more connected in that way. It tends to run generational. My grandmother always had visits from relatives that died the night they died or the day they died, and no one knew about it until the next day when they got the phone call, but she woke up about it.
My bad, man. I'm sorry to interrupt you, but my grandma had a stroke, right? And after the stroke, she started keeping a diary, and we found it after she passed away, and it was like, I've been seeing visions of people, and they're all teaching me how to swear. I never knew what fuck was.
Awesome.
Cocksucker. I never knew what a cocksucker was.
She had naughty ghosts hanging out around her. That's crazy. That's awesome.
Dude, I'm telling the truth, man. Me and my oldest sister found
come
that
on.
shit.
Are you seriously?
I swear to God, man, I'll bring my mom on the corner.
Okay.
She'll tell you. We found her fucking diary. She didn't know what a cocksucker was.
All right. Oh, that's enough that language. Some of our listeners don't like that, so I'll let it go because you're talking about your grandma this time. When we go on your show, we can swear like crazy.
Oh man, I love her, man.
Yeah.
I know that.
No doubt, man.
I've had a few complaints.
Now I'm mixed with it.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll let that go because your grandmother said that. If you really, and you're serious about that?
Yes, I'm dead serious,
wow,
dude.
That's crazy, man. And you found. I'd like to see. I would like to see if you could send me a picture of that notebook. I would like.
I gotta verify it for you.
I would like it verified. Yeah.
It's like, yuck! I don't believe you. You're on my podcast. Send me a picture of that.
But it is funny though. I actually gotta say that is pretty hilarious. But no, I was more looking for like a scary story, like what he was saying about the. To finish it off, can you spook everybody right
here we
out?
Go. Ready? Here we go. So one night I was going to sleep, and I was dreaming. No, I always spent the first part of my night upright, sitting in my bed, doing some meditational breathing and that kind of thing to relax from the day. I always have chilled like that. Listening to music usually. So I'm listening to some music and I'm doing my breathing exercises. Now I know from my studies of many different religions and philosophies that breathing techniques can definitely invoke altered states of consciousness, and that's what a lot of shamanism is about, altered states and breathing techniques. So I'm breathing and I'm getting ready to relax. But the music I'm listening to is different, and suddenly I start breathing into the rhythm of this music, which I don't normally do. And suddenly in the room, which is like straight out my bedroom door, I start seeing what I think are these lights in the living room moving around. And all I can think is this is weird. At that time, I was working nights as a blackjack dealer at a casino, so I slept days and had tinfoil at my windows, but they were tiny little pinholes. And all I could think from the way these lights were moving in the living room was that there was some kind of like a bus outside with a yellow light, or a dump truck, a trash truck with a yellow emergency light, something with a yellow light spinning, because that's kind of what it was like. But the more I looked, the more I realized it wasn't light moving around in the living room area. It was darkness moving around through the dim light of the just ambiance of the room. And it made me, like, I'm getting chills telling you this right now, it really made me freak out, because as I noticed the darkness moving around the living room, I could feel the darkness noticing me. That's the only way I can explain it. And suddenly the shape stood up next to my bed. And as I say, it was pure, just darkness standing next to me, like a void or like dark smokiness or just something not there. But it was an entity, and it was in the room with me. There's no doubt, because I touched my wife, and instead of waking her up, I decided the better thing to do would be just to work on the other things I knew to do and try to get this thing out of the room before it got her involved in whatever, because I could feel the malevolence and the menacing, like, because it was like when I noticed it, that's when it was like I shouldn't have noticed it, because when I noticed it, it came and let me know that it knew I had noticed it. So
Yuck, how would you get rid of something like that? How would you get rid of something like that, Yuck?
Fuck, I don't know, man.
Shit. I use salt. I use
How would I get rid of it?
I use blessed salt, and I chase the thing out. I usually I use my magic wand. What did you do, Walt? How did you get rid of it?
Well, I knew, I mean, again, working with breathing and energy, I know a lot about the chakra system. And I know that if you use your heart chakra energy, which is a green energy, you can create basically an energy force, a field around you, around your loved ones, around your house, around your home. I mean, I've done it really kind of unconsciously throughout all these things I've dealt with my whole life. And so that's what I did. I just started putting that shield around me and my wife laying next to me, and I just kind of rolled over into her back and held her close and just kept doing this energy work. And I felt it standing over us for about another maybe 5 minutes, and then I just increased the prayers and energy and meditation, and it finally just wasn't there anymore.
We were talking about this
and needless
earlier.
to say, I stopped the breath work. I didn't do any more breath work after that.
It's crazy because actually on another show earlier today, a friend of mine, Amy on the radio, we had a caller that was talking about smoke beings that were like darker than shadow kind of, but looks almost material, but smoky edges and stuff coming off of it, and you, yeah, is that what you saw?
That's it exactly.
Okay,
just
yeah,
a dark thing
but kind of smoky edges, almost like a pillar.
Yeah, edges like it's not quite really there, but it's just hovering in your reality with you. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah,
exactly.
and
That's crazy.
About the size of a person.
Another
but
synchronicity.
it is strange because I haven't talked about this very often. This thing that I saw at my mother's, it matched exactly what Andrew Chelland and he's a DM talker too, called in and told Amy, and I actually encountered one of these at my mother's house when I went to visit her, and I was gonna go upstairs, and then the thing was at the top of the stairs there, in my sister's room, and I immediately went and got some salt actually from the garage, just regular rock salt, and I asked the angel Michael to bless that salt, and then I went up there and I threw that salt and I'm gonna swear at that fucking thing, and it went away. It ran away from the salt when I threw the salt at it, and it left. And that's what I said. And by the sword of the angel Michael, get the hell out of here. Whatever you are, get out. because I could feel really like it was making me sick. It was so evil.
Yeah, exactly. That malevolence, just you could feel it from the one I'm talking about, right? Just.
What do you think of that,
flowing
Yuck?
from it.
I think it's crazy, man.
I know sometimes
I think it's really
we
crazy.
joke about stuff and everything, but that was pretty serious, man. Like, what?
Oh man, I joke about everything, no matter if it's been in my face or not.
Oh yeah.
Don't take me seriously.
What about your
like-
your boy? I know you got a young boy, Yuck. Has he ever been scared at night from seeing weird shit like that?
No.
No
Nope.
way. That's good. That means
No.
you have a positive environment for him. So
Hell
that's-
yeah, man.
You're doing a
The
great
psychic-
job.
What was her name? The psychic April Elizabeth, man. She told me I didn't have no cold around my heart. Remember?
Oh, that's right. And she also said that you were a starseed.
Yeah, exactly. I'm a starseed.
So
yeah.
your soul does not come from Earth. You're actually an alien in a
Damn
human
right.
body. Is
Yeah,
what she
it
said.
comes from scleropathy.
What a
The
way
planet.
to end it.
Yes.
Is anybody else? We got 5 minutes left. Does anybody else have anything to say?
Man, I just want to say thank you again. Hey, brother, man, it was fucking awesome listening to you tonight and meeting you. Man,
I'm
thank
glad
you.
you guys had me. Oh, thank y'all.
Yeah,
Hell yeah, man.
And I really appreciate you coming on last minute like this.
Yeah, I really didn't mean to call in, but I'm glad I did. Like I said, I was just adding your name so we could do this at a later date, and then suddenly there you were. Like, oh, well, I sure don't know how to work Skype, do I?
Well,
so it worked out great, man.
yeah,
I had a blast, and anytime I'll definitely come back and hang out. You guys were a blast, and I'm
Dude,
sure
it's good to hear somebody like you that has a good sense of humor that's going to take the ball bus and. You know what I mean?
I'm running around telling people the Earth's flat. I've gotten pretty much used to the ball busting at this point.
Good, man. Right on,
So,
man.
I
you
don't
guys
know
are
if,
great. And like I said, I don't know if Jeff is still here with us, but man, definitely through Mike, I'm on Twitter. I'm Facephone777 at Facephone777 on Twitter. I have my website, ironrealmmedia.com. Just get in touch with me. Or get through with Wolfman Mike. He's got me on Twitter for sure, and we'll try to get set up a show, man. Or anybody here that would like to come on and talk, because we all have, man. We all have questions. That's what got us to this point, is questioning what's going on around us.
Fuck yeah, we always have a question.
And the monsters are coming out now because it's getting near the end of the show. I don't know if
Hey,
Darren or
Wolfman.
Jeff, anybody got anything to say or?
Yes, I do. Wolfman. Wolfman, before you say anything, Wolfman, we're gonna hang out, motherfucker, do some tarot card readings, aren't we?
Oh yeah, next week, or maybe we do it tomorrow.
I'll say it right now.
Okay, we could do that.
After you end your show.
Then you would have to host that, because if we want to go live, I would have to call you, and because my internet's down.
Exactly.
So
I will host it, and anybody here that wants to hang out, man, you hang out, and we can.
I would love to, my friend, but I definitely have an early morning, so I'm gonna have to call a rain check on it. But definitely, I mean, like I said, Mike's got my deets, and I'm here on Skype with you guys now. So I don't know, add me or whatever. It's Flat Earth Dead here on Skype.
Okay, and just send me all the links. 3 minutes left here, and we'll post them on our hashtag 47Talk and our website and Facebook and stuff. So you can send me all your links on Skype, and I'll make sure to post them before. And also, if you could send a picture, and and I'll put that on when I publish this
we'll see.
episode.
I don't know, my ugly mug. I don't know why you want it, but I'll send you something.
Or it could be a picture of the flat Earth or anything that you want, any kind of picture, whatever you want me to post up for this show.
Yeah, no, I just give you a hard time. For sure,
Okay,
man,
Darren?
class. Like I said, I'm glad to see it up and running.
Yeah.
Darren, you got something to say? We got 2 minutes left, buddy.
I wanted to ask Walt, if you take off from the West Coast in a boat and you end up back on the East Coast, how's that possible with an infinite plane?
Well, in this area that we're contained within, based off of the North Pole, which is how navigation is done, and the North Star, which incidentally has been the North Star for thousands of years, in spite of us flying through an infinite void of stars. it's all based off the North Pole, which is how navigation is done. The longitude and latitude lines run parallel or horizontal to that North Pole region. If you direct your compass to stay with that North Pole, you're always going to wind up back where you started, like on a record. The record spins and you're back at start point. Except you're the one on that record. The record doesn't spin. Earth is not.
Are you on the outside of the record when you start, and you just keep going until you get back to the where you were?
It's just a big circle. You're going in a big circle. If you're trying to circumnavigate from, like you said, from the west coast of America back around to the east coast of America, to do it, all you've done is make a big giant loop around this giant area that
flat
is
area.
Yeah, flat area. The North Pole is the key. The North Pole is what guidance is based off of.
So that's the center of the record.
That's the center of the record. That's the center of where we live. Now, from where we live going outward, there's lots more going on from what we've been told in ancient texts or what we've been seeing with some of these maps that are coming out. Now, there's a lot of flat earthers that are definitely not down with what I'm telling you. A lot of flat earthers.
All right, guys, 30 seconds left. You know what? You're definitely going to have a chance. We're going to have you back on again, Walt.
Thanks.
So we will continue this conversation next time. Thanks, everybody, for listening to Monster Cast Paranormal. And thanks, everybody, Jeff, Darren, Yuck Nasty, Marcus, Eric, and Walt for coming on.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Good night, everybody.